Hi guys! Today, I'm going to recap a 1986 comedy-drama movie titled, What Every Frenchwoman Wants. A young boy who seeks to lose his virginity is trying his best. His initial efforts are unsuccessful, but World War I breaks out, and men are seen marching off to battle. Roger goes overboard when he is presented with several amorous opportunities. Will he be able to accomplish his holy mission? Let's find out together. Roger is a young teenager who has just begun to experience the effects of hormones. When he goes back to his childhood home to spend his summer break there, his maid, Ursula, is taken aback by the physical transformations that have taken place in him. As soon as he walks through the door, his mother is there to greet him, and his Aunt Marguerite immediately gets down on all fours to clean the mud off of his pants. After some time has passed, Roger and his sister Bertha are outside playing when they come across Mrs. Muller in the fields. She has absolutely no shame and makes the decision to urinate in front of him. Roger makes an unintentional visit to a gathering of people having a good time in the forest. Roger is mortified when the woman notices him, so he quickly escapes the scene. Roger observes that the maid, Helen, is giving him a friendly smile while they are eating dinner. The mother instructs Kate to tuck Bertha in and tells her to do so. Soon after, Roger is ready for bed. When Roger investigates, he finds that the maid is acting very suspiciously after hearing a noise coming from the hallways. Roger pays close attention as the maid and the man complete their work. The housekeeper acts as if nothing has happened and shrugs it off. Roger's younger sister terrifies him and then inquires as to whether or not she can share the bed with him. Bertha wants to know what he thinks about his Aunt Marguerite's appearance. He does. After some consideration of the housekeeper, Roger quickly acquires a sword down there. After noticing it, Bertha informs him that she is fully aware of the situation because Kate has already shared it with her. When Kate bursts in, she tells Bertha to go to her own room and sleep in her own bed. When Kate removes Roger's blankets, she discovers a large pyramid underneath them. She falls on top of him and then gathers herself before continuing. Roger is overcome with embarrassment as she walks away. The following day, Bertha and Roger are seen hanging out in the backyard while a group of women in the vicinity hang out and gossip about men. As men pass by, they begin to verbally harass women who are using the restroom. Ursula exposes her rear end to the men, which captivates Roger and causes him to feel astonishment. The arrival of Roger's father and Eliza, Roger's sister, is anticipated. His father discusses his business with him before lunch, which is selling medals to military personnel. However, because there is not currently a war taking place, it is not doing particularly well. Later on, Roger gets caught peeking looking under women's dresses. Then, his sister takes him to the confessional, where she overhears all of the juicy rumors that are being spread. He is abandoned by Bertha. Aunt Marguerite walks in to apologize to the men working on the farm for her transgressions. Then she admits that she's been lusting after a child as well, specifically her own nephew. As she expresses her desire to touch him, Roger becomes increasingly curious. She continues talking and talking, until finally she notices that the priest has fallen asleep. The ground beneath Roger gives way as he gets closer and closer, which leaves Aunt Marguerite in a state of disbelief. A little later on that day, Roger undresses in front of a crowd of people while in a crowded room. Roland, Eliza's boyfriend, has arrived to watch her spank Roger. The farmhand hands Roger a handful of nettles and removes Roger's Mormon underwear at the same time. His aunt smacked him 10 times in front of everyone while they all watched. In the middle of the night, Roger watches as the maid is subjected to some unwarranted roughhousing in the hallway. Roger has the dawning realization that Uncle Frank is also watching. Roger approaches the front door in an effort to discover the identity of the person responsible for the maid's ecstatic state. When Ursula walks by, she gives Roger a tender bottom rub after he's just been spanked. She tells him that she can put some cream on it if that is what he desires. He says there is no problem. After she leaves, Roger climbs the stairs to the attic in order to investigate. His uncle was in a hurry to leave because his Uncle Frank was up in the attic acting suspiciously while using a telescope. Roger peers through the telescope and notices several people who are naked rolling around on the grass. Before Roger leaves, he muses over the possibility that Frank also had to stifle his inclinations when he was a younger man. In response, Frank says that he already does that. Roger attempts to peek around the door because he can hear his parents talking on the other side of the door. Roger shouldn't be listening in on other people's conversations, so Roland interrupts him and blackmails him into cleaning his car because of Roland's threat. Roger exacts his vengeance on Roland by setting a bucket of water in a location where he will trip over it. The following day, Roger can be found in the chicken coop retrieving an older version of P-Hub. When the farmhand walked in, he was in the middle of giving himself the five-finger excitement. Helen approaches the farmhand in order to flirt with him. The farmhand uses a contraption to ensnare the woman and then attacks her from behind. Roger believes that Helen requires assistance, so he makes an effort to assist her. However, she declines his assistance because she is enjoying the male chicken. Roger takes a step outside the chicken coop and, at long last, understands what is going on. Roger has returned with the boots of Roland that he was supposed to clean for Roland. He gives her one of Eliza's books in exchange for the adult version of his book. Roland is upset that his boots aren't clean, so he tells Roger's mother that Roger was listening to his parents' conversation the night before. His mother is in a bad mood. Eliza takes possession of the questionable item and finds herself intensely intrigued by it. When Roger realizes this, he breaks into a grin. Eliza enjoys reading the book when she has some time to herself. Roger is just as ecstatic as usual. He sneaks into the kitchen with the intention of grabbing Ursula from behind, but she catches him off guard and strikes him with a plate instead. She gives him a pat on the head as his eyes meet her mountains at the same eye level. While she is pressing it against his face, a large woman walks in and disrupts their conversation. Mrs. Muller makes numerous attempts to convince Gustavo to meet her in a public place so that the two of them can engage in it. But instead, Roger comes up behind her and begins doing the job that Gustavo was supposed to do. Although Mrs. Muller answers in the negative, it's clear that she wants it as she pulls her skirt higher. The news that Germany has declared war on France interrupts what they were discussing. This interruption has left Roger feeling a great deal of dissatisfaction. On the other hand, Roger's father is ecstatic that the war has begun because it means that he can finally start expanding his business. Eliza and Roland say their final words to one another before Roland leaves for the war. Roger remains behind while the other men go off to fight in the war because he is too young to participate. Roger is convinced that now is the best time for him to lose his V-card. Ursula calls for assistance as she carries a mattress to the second floor. Roger sneaks a kiss on the neck from her and plants it on himself. After that, he makes an attempt to seize her mountains. Ursula and Roger undress. After they have completed the act, Roger declares that he already loves her. The mother of Roger has a discussion with the priest about the difficulties she is experiencing as a result of her husband's fantasies. According to her, he alters his appearance in a way that makes her feel uneasy, and she claims that this is the case. Laughter can be heard coming from Roger and Bertha while they are listening in. It is clear that his mother is upset with him. First and foremost, Roger defies his mother in this act of defiance. After some time has passed, Roger swims over to a stunning woman who is combing her hair. She has good things to say about Roger based on what she has heard. Roger raises himself to show her, and the woman expresses pleasant surprise at what she sees. When Roger's father arrives, he expresses his desire for the war to continue for a while longer. Roger is interested in learning more about the motivation behind the war. His father insists that the blame should be placed on the Germans. Two women are lurking in the hallway, keeping an eye on Roger's parents. Roger makes the decision to just walk in and check out what's going on. The eccentric hobby of Roger's father is to act as though his wife is a hostile force and to plan her murder. Roger is apprehended, so he makes a hasty getaway. The two women are having a very passionate moment just outside the door. When Marguerite goes to her bedroom, she finds Roger waiting for her there with the intention of kissing her. He gets a kiss from Marguerite, but he wants more than that from her. On the other side of the door, your great-uncle Frank can be heard beginning to recite a poem in which he declares his love for your Aunt Marguerite. Roger confesses to Marguerite that he has always been infatuated with her, even when he was a child. And now he wants to strip her of her femininity. All of this is said by him while Uncle Frank is continuing to recite his poem. After some time has passed, Roger discovers that Uncle Frank has been looking at an ancient Netflix box. After that, he advises Uncle Frank to stop looking at the box for pleasure and instead sleep with some women. In the hallway, Helen is at it again, but this time it is Roger's turn to defend himself. Roger is curious as to the identity of the man who has been hiding behind the door. Helen doesn't really know herself, but she thinks that Mr. Muller is the culprit. Roger grabs hold of Helen from behind and begins to press himself against her just as she is about to leave. Her cup of tea is moving around in the cup. Bertha can't help but wonder if her brother was the one who did it with Kate, Ursula, and the other girls. Roger claims that he has done it with virtually all of the women who lived on the property. Roger follows Eliza as she travels to the horse stables in the village. He is successful in luring away his own sister. They carry it out while Mrs. Muller is nearby watching over the horses and providing care for them. A chuckle escapes Bertha as she learns that his own siblings participated in the activity with one another. By the time night falls, he has not one but two girls sleeping with him. Then, some time later, another person entered his room. After some time has passed, Kate, Marguerite, and Ursula end up sharing a bed together. Eliza eventually confides in Roger the news that she may be expecting a child. The arrival of Roland's aircraft on the property comes just in the nick of time. Everyone goes to congratulate the war hero, and Eliza gets a kiss from him. In the later hours of that day, Ursula reveals to Roger that she is pregnant and that he must marry her immediately. After that, Aunt Marguerite walks in and informs him that she is also expecting a child. He advises her to wed her Uncle Frank so that they can avoid any further scandal. Eliza receives nail polish from both Roger and Ursula in her room. They begin to spread it out on her bed to make it look like she has a period. Roger instructs his sister to visit Roland immediately and share the rest of the night with him in his bedroom before it is too late. After that, he takes his aunt to see his Uncle Frank in his room. It was abundantly clear that he had no intention of paying child support. While this is going on, Eliza and Roland have made it back to her room to finish what they started. The wedding of Eliza and Roland takes place the following day. Ursula ties the knot with her new significant other. In addition, Marguerite and Uncle Frank tied the knot. When the women finally start showing, they all agree that they are going to name their children Roger. It would appear that Roger has had very strong feelings for Ursula ever since they first met. He desired to marry her, but she was adamant that she would never marry him. As Roger is getting ready to move to the big city, he learns that his girlfriend Helen is also expecting a child. His mother warns him that the city will present him with many opportunities for temptation, and that he should exercise extreme caution when he is there. Roger looks mischievously happy. Roger is seen off by all of the women with a wave. What do you think of Roger's holy mission? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a like and comment to help the channel. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.